Have you ever given birth in a natural disaster that just shut the city down? Hello, everyone. My name is Bethany Babb, and I'm going to tell you about the story when I did just that. My husband and I were pretty young when we found out that we were going to be parents. Looking back, we were just babies ourselves. We were the typical high school sweethearts, getting married shortly after high school. We had only been married a few years when we found out that we were going to be parents. We were nervous but excited for our little family to grow. Pregnancy was the happiest time of my life, but I had to admit I was a little nervous. Okay, a lot nervous. But I wanted a beautiful birthing story to look back at fondly. We were hoping to have a leap year baby, but our due date came and went with no signs of a baby. We eventually went to the hospital to get the party started. We went in late March 1st with what felt like air vibrating around us. We were so nervous. Nurses were matter of fact and efficient, even in the dimly lit rooms. Questions were asked, and they quickly stuck a needle in my hand. I was glad I was lying down because I nearly fainted, and my eyes rolled in the back of my head. My husband laughed for the first time. It cut the tension like a knife. We had gotten so nervous. We started to giggle uncontrollably. This earned us a side glance from the nurse, but she continued with her duties. The next day, they decided to move forward with Pitocin, a hormone that causes contractions. I had needles and wires coming from everywhere. I felt like a science experiment. During this time, women are not allowed to eat. Our nurses cheerily come in and go, and we learned their names and had friendly conversations. Then they were off their shifts, and we did it again with a new crew of faces. In between the increasing pain and the medicated sleep, I started hearing people murmuring the word tornado. Faces were looking more and more grim as they entered the room. I remember my grandparents coming to see us and bringing a turkey rotolo. I wanted to eat that rotolo so badly. I was starting to get agitated between the hunger and the pain. I was vaguely aware of the weather becoming a concern. Family members called to tell me they could not come because there was a tornado coming. In my current state, I could not really digest that information. Nurses were coming into the room and watching the news. I was starting to get annoyed, but my mother in law was telling us about the dangerous tornado that was on its way. Holding my humongous contracting belly, one of the hardest times of a woman's life, I yelled, "If one more person says the word tornado, I will throw them out this window." It seemed to help for the time being. My mom called to tell me she could not get on my floor. They had shut the hospital down. Everyone was on emergency lockdown. The tornado had been spotted. All of a sudden, there was a flurry of nurses unplugging wires and medicine poles and rushing us out of the room. They wheeled me down the hall and into a cold room used for surgeries. They had unplugged my Pitocin, but they had also unplugged my pain medication as well. That is when the fear really hit. This was not a part of my birth plan at all. Thankfully, it was over quickly. They even let me eat my Rotolo before they reconnected the wires in the tubes. Hours later, on March 3rd, our son Liam was born. That was the happiest and the scariest day of my life. And even though it was not the picture perfect birth story, it's our perfect story. Thank you.